Entrez. Detective, what a pleasure. I did not expect to see you in my chambers.
In a purely professional capacity, I can assure you.
There is no need to act so stiff, Detective.
Madame, after the revelation of your actions last night, I'm afraid my sense of humor is all but gone.
I will not apologize again for merely trying to help. Shall we get straight to it then? Let us not waste your time any further, Detective. That would be Inga. She has been one of the most promising young women that has come from the shelter.
Madame Vandenbosch took in a young lady from your shelter.
There is no need to sound so surprised, Detective. She does have a heart.
I did not mean to sound so cruel. I just did not expect Madame to hire someone of that background after the incident with her previous maid, Florette.
People change, Detective. You should not judge someone on their past actions.
Believe me, Countess, I know that only too well.
Be careful, Detective. That almost sounded like a compliment.
It is your actions in this house that have been questionable, Madame. Your work outside is something that many more could take note of.
We do what we can. We wouldn't be doing a very good job if I could only help one girl. I in fact found work for one of them as a maid in Monsieur da Silva's house recently.
She has fitted into Monsieur's home well.
What is better, Detective, that she remained in an abusive house, or she is able to rebuild her life with an honest...
When put like that, is she happy in her position?
The happiest she has been in years. I check in with them all as often as possible. And if there was a problem, I would know.
Merci, Madame. Oh. Huh. Oh. Aha.
Go ahead, Detective. A compliment and now an apology. Well, Detective, you certainly have changed your tune.
There was something I was still unsure of. You mentioned that your training was some years ago.
From my days as a nurse, oui.
If that is so, why would you have brought several pieces of equipment usually found in a physician's bag?
One must always be prepared, Detective.
Prepared? At an engagement celebration?
If I had not brought them, I would not have been able to assist you last night. Perhaps you should be thankful for my precaution and not so suspicious.
Merci, Madame.
Detective, what can I...
Mademoiselle, I am sure you understand my reasoning for such intrusion.
If it's going to clear my name, be my guest.
If you wouldn't mind answering some questions, it can hopefully be cleared faster.
Like I said, he's not the man he wants everyone to think he is.
Oui. But how is it you came to that conclusion?
You don't really want me to recount every conversation I've had with him, do you?
There is one particular I had in mind.
An argument would imply it was a two-way conversation.
And that is not how it was?
Here it is. I've been helping Angeline get exposure, her marriage to Gideon is big news, and his work is really paving the way for others. I saw the chance to get their names out there, and he didn't like it.
What was there not to like?
Your guess is as good as mine, Detective. But if I had to, I'd say he was jealous it wasn't his name at the top of the article.
And his reason to storm off?
Oh, you know about that. Let's just say I didn't accept his pathetic attempt to get me to stop the story. If you're gonna try and pay someone off, at least make it worth their while. You've really got a fascination with that guy, huh?
I would not say fascination. An interest, perhaps.
Well, I'll save you the bother of trying to find out more about him. He's not that interesting. In fact, he's a bit of a wimp if you ask me.
That is not the impression I got of him.
That's because you've only seen the side of him he wants you to. He knows what to say in front of the right people. But behind closed doors, he's clueless. Let me guess. The first thing he told you was that he was a union leader. No, the voice of the people.
A man that is proud of his work is not something to be sneered at.
Don't get me wrong, he has a way with words, and he can certainly rally a crowd. But that's about it. At the end of the day, he's a representative and nothing more. He's got to play the part, not just learn the lines.
Merci, mademoiselle. I shall leave you to relax.
Sure thing, Detective. And if you change your mind on that exclusive about that shooting...
If I do change it, you shall be the first to know. Oh. Ah. Aha.
Go right ahead, Detective. All Felix cared about was money and filling his pockets with it. That's why he got into bed with De Silver.
The Major was not in need of money, though.
Need and want are two very different things. Did he need to move here and leech off the Madame? No, but he wanted to. As far as I know, De Silver hired him to work security. He was worried what could happen to his precious factories if things got ugly.
And your reporters were there to cover the story when it did turn that way.
My reporters go where there is news to be told.
And you predicted the violence that occurred?
Anyone could see that was gonna happen. If you ask me, Hugo should have acted sooner.
Merci, mademoiselle. I shall leave you to relax. Huh. Huh. Ah. Ah. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh. Mademoiselle, we meet...
Bonjour, Monsieur Poirot. Pardon, Détective Poirot.
Just a detective is quite all right.
Bon, can I help you with something? I was taking him a plate of food, but he didn't answer to my knocking.
You then entered the study.
I did. He wasn't moving. He just lay there.
I did not mean to upset you again. Seeing him there would be troubling for anyone, and I'm sure it is not a memory you wish to relive.
I suppose we're like a family. We argue, but most of the time we get along.
You must all be quite close, then.
Some more than others.
You refer to whom, mademoiselle?
Well, Maman Ray, sorry, Rihanna, she's been here the longest, and she's very close with Lizzie on account of Luke. Maman Ray is Luke's sister. You did not know that? I thought she would have said. She talks about him all the time. It must have been awful, losing him in those riots. Apparently, he was right at the front when they were charged. They didn't stand a chance. If I had been the one responsible for his death, I wouldn't want Maman Ray looking for me.
Mademoiselle Rihanna, Maman Ray, she has expressed her desire for revenge.
Every time she talks about what happened. I guess you wouldn't know anything about life on the streets.
It is not an experience I have had to face personally, but I understand that many are forced into it, and the lifestyle that comes with it.
The lifestyle of a thief, you mean?
Put rather bluntly, oui.
You are the first officer that has not taken one look at me and pulled out their handcuffs.
Mademoiselle, I can see you have turned your life around, and I commend you on your efforts.
Without the Countess, I would probably be rotting in a cell somewhere.
Merci, mademoiselle. Monsieur Demire, I hope you are feeling better today.
Nothing a good night's sleep couldn't fix.
Très bien. I wonder if you would be up to discussing certain matters with me.
Whatever you need. I lost my taste for death a long time ago, but it had to be done. I'm certainly in no rush to be carrying a dead body again, though.
Most understandable. I shall extend the same gratitude to you as I did to your brother.
You've spoken to him already. How is he?
Perhaps that should be a question you ask him yourself.
Yeah, maybe. I bet he had a lot to say. He always did have an opinion on the war.
When I say your past, I refer to your past as brothers.
Okay, well, what did he say?
It seems you both had the same sentiment for this party. Perhaps the bridges that you thought were once burnt are in fact primed to be reconstructed.
We'll see how probable that reconstruction is going to be. Until he sees my point of view, I don't know how we can move forward.
What is there for him to understand before the bond can be repaired?
He lost his friends in the war, the same as everyone. But somehow he has forgiven. I'm sorry, Detective, I can't. And Gideon just doesn't understand that. Those two, close.
They must share something in common to be able to hold a conversation for the time they did.
If there is one thing I know about my brother, it's that he will not. No. He cannot be rude. He just doesn't have it in him.
Was it not your brother that punched Monsieur Hagen?
Ah, that's different. He was asking for it. If you put my brother in a room with 5 socialites like her, he would work his way around every single one of them, offering his full attention and finest manners.
Merci for your assistance. Huh. Aha. Huh.
Always got the dagger.
I shall give you the opportunity to explain the reason for it being here before I jump to any conclusions.
It was going to be a wedding gift for Gideon. I've maybe not been the best brother in recent years. I thought this could make up for some of it. After what happened to the Major, I thought it was a bit tasteless.
You did not see it fitting to tell me you were harboring a rather sizable knife in your room?
I wouldn't say harboring. And I wasn't expecting to be a suspect in a murder.
Merci for your... Order and method. The pieces of the puzzle are Oh. Oh. Aha. Oh. Hmm. Huh. Magnifique. Some would say a lucky guess. Monsieur de Silva, I am sure you understand the necessity for this type of...
Not really, Detective. Your speech was rather spirited. But it did not give me much faith in your investigation.
I have not had my abilities questioned to my face by one of those I suspect of a crime before.
Well, if you wish to prove me wrong, you should hurry up and find Felix's killer.
And I hope, with your help, monsieur, I shall.
Yes, I helped him invest some money. Unfortunately, he was not the businessman he thought he was.
Madame Vandenbosch had a very similar view. At least he could have taken solace that you are both in the same position.
I think you're confused, Detective. It was Edwin that lost his fortune, not I.
Forgive my naivete. If you were helping him make viable investments, would you not have seen the same opportunity for yourself?
I told him about the opportunities. I did not tell him to put his whole family's wealth into it. The prospect of doing good meant more to him than his profit margins. He was bound to fail.
The business declared bankruptcy.
It did, until it was purchased for a fraction of its worth and made the new owner a small fortune. Everything that I want to say on that matter has already been said.
I understand, monsieur. But what I would like to know is, was the late Viscount aware of your feelings towards his wife?
Excuse me, Detective, but you have crossed the line.
Crossed the line like an attempt to bankrupt a business partner and friend so that you'll be able to swoop in and impress a certain target of your affections.
You make such ridiculous accusations without a shred of proof.
Your reaction at the mere suggestion is proof enough, monsieur. While I cannot arrest you for betrayal of a friend, I can hope your conscience does not forget, and that will be punishment enough.
He didn't have much to speak of. I was always surprised at the life he lived.
Surprised in what way?
Well, considering it wasn't that long ago he came to me asking about work, I didn't think he was in such good financial shape.
You offered him a position.
Nothing that he was willing to lower himself to. That's when he began talking about what else he could do for me. If you can call what him and his team did security. For the money I paid, I did not expect them to be so reckless.
It was a considerable amount you paid him?
There's no need to divulge amounts, but it was certainly more than was expected. He said they were all professionals, but I saw nothing of the sort. He said he had worked with them all in the army as their superior officer. They were men that could be trusted.
But that was not the case?
I had not even met them before they arrived on site. They brought their own equipment. They looked like they knew what they were doing.
And this equipment, it included the weapons that injured and killed the workers?
It was not much of a choice, Detective. I said they didn't need them, but Felix said it was essential. He said he knew better.
That is all for now. Ah. Huh. Huh. Oh.
What is...
I have spoken of a potential blackmail ring, and yet you still kept your letter to yourself.
It is none of your business. And it is nothing more than a cheap trick to have me admit something that is not true.
If that were the case, it would be strange for you to have kept the letter and brought it with you, would it not?
Your persistence is a trait I do not enjoy. No reason, Detective. Merely saving you from wasting your time.
I will be the judge of that. I would like to know about any and all evidence that may help my investigation. I trust there is nothing else you deem a waste of my time.
Of course not, officer. It's not as though you think I'm harboring some illicit secret. The letter was a pathetic attempt to intimidate me. Nothing more. I have never heard so much rubbish in all my life. I value those that work hard and deserve it.
That suggests there are some that you do not respect.
Yes, well, why should I praise someone for doing a poor job? You make me sound like some monster.
Monsieur, the letter does not only discuss your questionable business dealings, but also cases of abuse against your staff. Both accusations that must be taken very seriously.
Detective, There is a difference between telling a member of my staff what to do and abuse.
And it is you that decides where that line is drawn?
In my house? Yes, it is. Excuse me? Detective, I think you are beginning to lose your mind.
I do not think it is unreasonable to question why you would feel the need to bring a letter opener with you.
Really, Detective? If I had stabbed a man with it, do you really think I would have left it lying out in my room? Yes, and no one asked them to.
But surely it is beneficial to both parties. Your profits must have been affected.
There are barely any profits to speak of.
Why have those talks not taken place and a deal arranged?
Monsieur Beckers has made no attempt to speak with me and offered no counter-offer. The ball is in his court, Detective. Please stop calling it that. I treat all my servants exactly how I always have, and no one has complained before.
That does not mean your behavior is appropriate.
They have one chance. If they are not doing the job they are hired to do, they are gone. You would be surprised how many staff expect an easy ride.
Is there a specific member of staff that may have expected such a ride?
There is one girl, a new maid. I didn't expect great things from her, but Comtesse de Vos promised me she could do what was required.
That is all for now. Come, my little grey cells. I must take a different approach if I am to I cannot see the logic in this. I should not be surprised by my... What a revelation! Things are beginning to become...
What is... She approached me. I thought it was rather brash.
In what way?
Assuming that I would want to take on another servant, and one from such a troubled background. She is running the charity, not I. When he came to me, I told him that with the factories on strike and my profits pouring down the drain, I had nothing for him. But he said he could help me get them all back to work and the factories earning. His rates were steep, but he said he knew what needed to be done, and he was prepared to do it. A week passed and they were all still on strike. In fact, even more had joined them. He made excuse after excuse, demanding more and more money for the job to be done. But he never actually told me what he was going to do.
The riots.
I had no idea they were going to charge them like that. How was I meant to know?
And even following such a tragedy, he continued to demand money from you.
He said if he wanted my silence, it would cost. Do you have any idea what it could do to my livelihood, my name? If it got out that I had paid the so-called security that did that.
I have every idea, monsieur. You hired a militia to take action against your own workers. You deserve whatever name is chosen for being so morally bereft in your decision-making.
I didn't know that was what he was going to do. You must believe me.
I have to believe nothing but the truth. And the truth, monsieur, is that it is not only the Major that has the blood of those men on his hands. That is all. Another success.
Is there something you need, Detective? She helped me at the shelter and with this job.
That I am already aware of. What I am not is what else she tasked you with.
Pardon, Detective?
I know that your position as a servant in this house is not your only job. What did Countess de Vos ask you to do while in this house?
She said I had to do what she asked, or I would be back on the street. I didn't want to do it. If anyone found out, I would be the prime suspect.
Merci, mademoiselle. there something? This will not get me any closer to my goal. The pieces of the puzzle are finally... I should not be surprised by my own...
Is there something you need, detective? Nothing. She said
If it was not something she wished you to take, what was it?
she wanted me to find out information about the family and Monsieur Hagen.
Why did she request that?
At first I didn't know, but when I heard about Mademoiselle Angeline being blackmailed, and then the Major, I knew she had used what I found. I knew Monsieur Archie had a key, and it would be easy to get it from him.
You knew that the Major asked Monsieur Sterling to access the safe from time to time, and if anything was ever discovered missing, he would surely take the blame.
I never took anything. I only told the Countess what I had found.
And that was?
About Monsieur Hagen and the Madame's relationship, and Angeline.
I'm sure the Countess was pleased to hear such valuable information.
She said I had done a good job, but I needed proof. That's why I went back and got the letters last night. I fetched the letters again and took them to the Countess last night. But she shouted at me and said what a stupid girl I was.
You were only doing as she requested.
She said it was too dangerous for her to have them with you around. That's when I returned them to the study. I thought I heard someone on the stairs, so I just threw them back. It was dark, as I dared not turn the light on. Someone would have seen it.
Merci, mademoiselle. I must act on thought. Another success. Some would say a lucky guess. This will not get me any closer. Is there something? I cannot see the logic in this. Things are beginning to... Mademoiselle, merci for coming.
Have you had a breakthrough, Detective?
I have. Finally, I have the news you have awaited.
Please, Detective, don't hold me in suspense. Oh my! I feel faint at the thought of knowing who could have done this to us.
It is said to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. It is Comtesse de Vos that is behind the letters.
I don't believe it! What about the Major's letter?
Not only his, but a letter to Monsieur da Silva.
She was blackmailing him as well? Detective, I just don't know what to say.
Take a moment, mademoiselle. It is a lot of information to take in.
I just don't understand why she would do such a cruel thing. She has never been particularly forthcoming with it, only that she was homeless for some time and that she was at the women's shelter before here.
And it is there that the Comtesse abused her power and manipulated her to uncover secrets of the family.
All this time she has been working for Margot, doing her dirty work?
I am afraid so, mademoiselle.
Is Maman aware?
You are the first I have told, mademoiselle. Next will be the authorities.
I'm afraid that we'll have to wait. And we will. I want to see her punished to the fullest extent of the law. But we cannot telephone anyone, as the lines are still down.
Monsieur Archibald informed me earlier I had hoped they would be working again. Last night's snow must have caused more damage than expected.
Last night? They have been done all weekend, Detective. Detective? Are you okay? Detective Poirot? Would you like me to fetch you a glass of water, Detective?
My apologies, mademoiselle. I was taken by surprise for a moment, but I have regained my composure. A glass of water is not required. Would you excuse me? Merci, madame. Mademoiselle,
Detective,
it is a rather late hour to be wandering the halls.
Oh, yes, of course. I do not feel myself, Detective.
If that is the case, you should be resting. Allow me to help.
No, that's quite all right. I will see to my duties and return to bed.
Lizzie, excuse me, Elizabeth. Lady Van den Bosch has been waiting for some time now.
Oh, yes, sorry. Detective Poirot was just...
I'll see to the detective. You just head on up. Off you go.
Good night, Detective.
Bonne nuit, mademoiselle.
I'm sorry about her, Detective. As you can see, she is still not back to her usual bubbly self.
This weekend seems to have taken quite a toll on her.
She'll be right as rain in a couple of days. Now, what can I help you with?
As if by magic you appeared when needed. I would like to speak with you and the remaining staff. If you could gather them in the staff pantry.
At this hour, Detective? Is that really necessary?
I shall be the one that determines what is and what is not necessary, and this is very much the former.
As you wish, Detective. I'll see if Inge has finished preparing for breakfast.
And Mademoiselle Rihanna?
Yes, of course. I'll fetch her from the kitchen. Elizabeth may be some time with the lady of the house. Perhaps you'd like to start with us?
Very well. I shall speak with Mademoiselle Elizabeth when her duties are complete.
While I am gathering the staff, Mr. Beckers is in the library. If you wish to join him, I could bring you both a nightcap.
I wish to keep a clear head, but there is something I wish to discuss with Monsieur Beckers. Monsieur Beckers, it is rather late. The other guests have already retired to their rooms.
I didn't even see the time. It's easy to lose oneself in a library this impressive.
That is something we can agree on, monsieur.
I suppose I should be heading?
Un moment, monsieur. There are some matters that we must discuss.
Oh, what is it, detective? I'm not sure what you mean.
Her proposal to make you somewhat of a star, a figurehead for the working man. What would you call that?
There was certainly no talk of making me a star. That is not the type of man I am. She wanted to write a piece on my work with the union, and I was happy to oblige. My speech? I'm not sure what speech.
You may save your false ramblings for your next audience. I am aware you spoke with the Major yesterday.
Whoever told you that has it wrong, detective.
Please, monsieur. The truth.
Okay, fine. Yes, the Major and I spoke, but it was not for long. I was trying to convince him to speak with Ernesto. It's time we brought the strikes to an end.
And that was best approached by a shouting match?
He wouldn't listen to a word I said. I spent so long preparing how I was going to convince him, but men like him are only swayed by one thing: money.
It is said that money is the root of all evil, but it can also be a rather powerful bargaining chip.
Well, he was bargaining with people's lives. If he had acted sooner, none of those men, my men, would have to die. A deal? It was an insult.
And that is why you did not sign it?
I didn't sign it because the workers deserve so much more, not his pathetic attempts to get them back to work.
Did you think there was a chance for a better deal to be made?
I know there was. He's a pompous swine that cares for only himself and filling his pockets.
Mademoiselle Conrad can be quite convincing, can she not?
She has certainly taken several wealthy business partners by surprise with her knowledge and prowess. She knows how to use her womanly powers to get what she wants.
But she did not surprise or use you?
Me? Used me? Don't be ridiculous, detective. There were no games played at my expense. No, she just reminded me of what I was fighting for. And I stand by that. It was an insult.
A rather bold move to make such a decision on your own.
I may not be perfect, but I've done everything I can.
Your efforts fell short in every respect. You claim to be the voice of the people, but you care about no one's voice or benefits but your own.
It's not as easy as just signing a piece of paper, detective. It is a heavy weight to bear on one's shoulders. I consulted with others.
You yourself spoke of Mademoiselle Conrad's cunning in business.
And I told you, I was not one of her targets.
Tell me then, what was it she reminded you of? The acclaimed man of the people you would be known as if you pushed the factory owners for more?
It wasn't like that at all.
From where I am standing, it was she that was manipulating the terms of the deal, and you in the process. You were merely her pawn.
Okay, yes, I know. I shouldn't have listened to her. But what else could I do? Remain an unknown my whole life? I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt.
It may not have been your intention, but we both know the result. You rolled the dice with those men's lives for fame, and you lost.
What does that have to do with anything?
I have often wondered about the competition siblings face in a large family.
When you're young, it is the best feeling to know you have family that will stand by you, without even being asked. It is not until everyone starts carving their own path that you realize you're walking yours solo, and those that were beside you are now miles away. My other brothers were the athletes of the family. They both played soccer, and were the infatuation of every teenage girl. I'm sure you have seen the type.
Oui, monsieur, but I can assure you that was not I.
Then there was me. Quiet, timid, a shadow of the Baker brothers. My voice and very presence was forgotten and ignored. Nothing I could say or do would ever reach the bar they had set. But I always knew I was destined for great things. Years passed, and now that I no longer stood in the colossal ombre of my brothers, I could become my own man. When the position of union leader was posted, it was my chance to finally be heard. You hear politicians speak of the little or the common man? Well, that was me. And I knew what we wanted and what we needed. When I spoke, others listened. I held their gaze with a sense of pride, a sense that what I was doing was for the greater good. It was supposed to be my crowning achievement, lead the men to victory over the money-grabbing oppressors. But instead, all I did was lead them to their deaths.
Monsieur, it was not at your hands that these men died. The blame cannot lie solely on your shoulders. Those responsible will be punished for their crimes. That you must trust. Aha. Oh. Ah. Hmm.
Detective, what can we do for you?
You can help me by telling the truth, and in the process, help yourselves.
Sorry, Detective. It's a bit late in the night for riddles.
It is no riddle, monsieur. If I do not receive the truth, you shall all be charged as accessories to murder.
Detective, I think maybe you have been locked in this house for too long. We have already...
You have told me a version, and now I require honesty. Monsieur Sterling, is there anything you would like to add to your story?
I'm not sure what you think I have done, Detective.
Let us not string out this charade any longer.
From his associate. I've already told you, Detective. I don't know who it was.
Do not worry yourself on such details now. I suppose they were lucky to have called when they did. Otherwise, they may not have gotten through at all, with the telephone lines being down as of yesterday.
Aye, Detective. Lucky, I guess. Whiskey?
You took a bottle of whiskey to the Major. You spoke with Monsieur Demire en route.
Aye, of course. It was a bottle he picked up from his last visit to Scotland. Rather smoky number from the Highlands. He was saving it for a worthy occasion. Drowning his sorrows must have been fitting enough. Or was it the one from the West Coast? You'll have to excuse my memory, Detective. It's not what it used to be. Oh, you found it. Thank you, Detective. I've been looking everywhere for it.
If I had lost a war medal, I would not stop until I found it.
It's not what you think. I was...
Exploiting a dead man's military achievements for your own personal gain?
Nothing of the sort. He asked me to clean them up. I must have dropped it into my pocket when I was putting them back. An honest mistake. I wouldn't know. Probably.
Your father was in the military for many years. That is what you told me.
He was.
And your family still keep his medals?
They were sold.
And why was that, monsieur?
Is my family on trial now, Detective?
Only you, monsieur. And I repeat my question.
Because we needed money.
Voilà.
No, he keeps them safe with some of his old military documentation.
Is that a typical job for the head butler?
He trusts me to do a good job. I told him I used to clean my father's, so he asked me to do the same.
And where does he keep these items?
In the storage room. I know where everything is, so it's just easier if I fetch them for him as and when he needs them. It's certainly better than my last.
You are paid a fitting wage for the work that is asked of you?
I'm sure the lady of the house would not want me discussing it, but I should not complain.
That is not the most convincing answer, monsieur.
Between you and I, we all work very hard here, and it would be nice if we were rewarded for it.
Please don't go anywhere. If I require more information, I shall call on you again. Order and method. That is... What a revelation! Come, my little grey cells. I must take a different approach if I am to I must act on thought and... Magnifique. I cannot see the logic in this. Things are beginning to become... Come, my little grey cells. I must take a different approach if I am... Order and method. Magnifique. Mademoiselle, I shall keep my questions brief.
I don't know what else I can tell you.
You have been honest with me so far. All I request is that you continue to do so.
Oui, detective. It was frantic in the pantry. We were working hard to make sure everything was up to scratch.
Go on.
Then Liz burst in, asking for Maman-Ray's help.
Her help with what, exactly?
I don't know. She took Liz to one side, and I was needed in the salon. We spoke just after that in the pantry.
You did not question what she needed help with?
I was too busy. I love Liz, but she sheds a tear at almost everything these days. Although, I have never seen her look so pale.
Merci. Mademoiselle, I shall be as quick and precise with my questioning as possible.
Okay. What do you need? Merci. He was a good man. Taken too early.
Forgive me, mademoiselle, for not extending them earlier, but I was not aware of your relationship.
He was my only brother. And he died doing what he believed was right. If I ever get my hands on who took him from me. You say the riots, but it was the strike he was part of. They started the riots, not the workers.
By they, you are referring to the security forces. They were brought in to keep the peace.
Security, huh? They were brought in to make an example of them. It was all peaceful until they arrived.
Why would they need to make an example?
So that the workers would stop rallying. No one is going to go on strike if they think they'll get killed. The security you talk of were armed and ready. The workers were pigs to the slaughter. What chance did they have? Yes,
This was before or after Archibald took him a bottle of whiskey.
before.
You are sure?
It may have been after.
The whiskey is kept in the cellar with all the alcohol.
It is.
Then you must have noticed him going into the cellar and returning with a bottle through the pantry, no?
Yes, I suppose I did. It must have been before then. What is there to say? Being locked away in the pantry, I don't see her for most of the day.
That may be. But she came looking for your help before dinner was served, did she not?
She wasn't feeling well, that's all.
And she came to you.
I told you, we are a family here. The girls come to Mama Reh if they have a problem, and I fix it.
When I saw her earlier, I must admit she was not looking herself. Perhaps I should check on her.
No, just leave the poor girl. She'll be fine after another bowl of my homemade soup. She just needs her rest.
Merci, mademoiselle. This will not get me any close. I must act on thought. The pieces of the puzzle of. Is there something? Order and method. That. I should not be surprised by my own skill. This will not get me any closer to my. Some would say a lucky guess. What a revelation! I cannot see the logic in this. I must take a different approach if I am... Come, my little grey cells. Another success. I should not be surprised. Magnifique. Some would say a lucky guess. Is there something? I must act on thought and... I cannot see the logic in this. Things are beginning to become clear. Another success. The pieces of the puzzle are... What a revelation!
you.